So glad to get to guest host again tonight on Tap. Remembering Hurricane Katrina a decade later. And a new FBI warning says more and more women, American women, are joining ISIS. Why? We're going to hear from an expert on that. Also tonight, the so-called black vote. Where does it stand in 2016? You'll find out. And then next week, President Obama goes way up north to Alaska, finally hitting the nation's largest state, the oil-rich state. Not to talk about the need to drill, baby, drill, though. No, he's going to talk global warming. And then we have illegal immigration, which is a hot topic. The PC police, again, now saying we can't say anchor baby. Milwaukee's got one tough A sheriff, and he's going to dive into that. First up, though, Katrina. 10 years ago this week, Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast. More than 2,000 Americans died. 500,000 were left homeless. $100 billion in damages. The devastation affected an entire nation. But today, the coast sees a renaissance and effective rebuilding because the people there, they never gave up.
I really thought it was going to be no more New Orleans. I thought that was going to be it for my city.
It was predicted that it would take 10 years. 10 years for the city to come back, 10 years for the infrastructure to come back, 10 years for the music to come back.
Music here, man, there's something special.
We have to show them we're still out here.
That was then, this is now.
This is now, and joining me now from the Big Easy, very busy couple. I appreciate them joining us. The most unique political couple, maybe not agreeing on a thing, except their love for each other and family and home. Sounds normal to me, though. The Ragin' Cajuns, Democrat strategist James Carville, and Republican strategist, the wise one, Mary Matalin. Thanks so much for being with us, and you made that big move from D.C. to New Orleans. How did you decide to do that?
Well, Governor, it's an honor to hear your voice, be with you, see you. I saw you the other night. James probably turned up the sound. He loves looking at you. So thanks for all you're continuing to do. We got married here. We love it here. We wanted to move here. We wanted to raise our kids here. And James's family is in Baton Rouge. So we didn't know what we were sinking our teeth into right after Katrina, but it really is a man-made miracle. We're very proud of it.
Very good, and we know that you got there at a tough time. And James, with a lot of your family roots being there and being in the area, what is it that you see today that proves, these signs that the city's back?
Well, if you think about it, what's very different and unique about New Orleans is its culture. And it was very doubtful if we were going to maintain our culture. But I mean, our music, our food, our carnival crews, even our funerals, our architecture, our body of literature. And what I'm really pleased about, that we always have problems, but our culture today is probably stronger than it's ever been. And that's the real gratifying part. And I think the three big markers we have better flood protection, better schools, better political leadership. And I think with those three things, that's the three most positive things you can have. We obviously have a lot of work left to do, and it's always a work in progress. It's always a story of New Orleans and this area, but we've made some gratifying progress, I think.
And Governor, if I could add to that, we've also maintained our culture, but we have become an economic powerhouse. So all the older established industries, energy, shipbuilding and such, are way back up, but we're also now a brain gain, high-tech center, innovation center, first a small business startup center, so medical tech corridor. And this was done, and I consider this an antidote to what ails us in Washington. This was done with a combination of determined leadership and determined citizenry. And if we build it, they will come.
Well, and so that industry infrastructure certainly being key to the rebirth there and the regrowth of New Orleans. How about the physical infrastructure? Is it sound? The levees? Can such damage ever occur again?
I can answer that. It's better, but it's woefully inadequate. We're protected from a 100-year event, which I think means it's going to happen. If you live to be 50, it's probably going to happen in your lifetime if you do the math. But let me say this, it's better than what we had. And everybody agrees on that, and we can go forward from there. We have a massive infrastructure we're undergoing right now in terms of our street. Our drainage system is undergoing massive infrastructure. You know, a lot of New Orleans is below sea level, so we have to pump the water out. That's undergoing stuff. One of the great heroic stories, I mean, the most important piece of infrastructure in the city is probably the Superdome, of which they got open in a year through some really amazing efforts on the part of people like Doug Thornton here and just a lot of other folks that got that job done. And that was a real part of the recovery here.
And can I add, Governor, again, particularly to the friends on our side who said, why rebuild this city? The world's population, the global population, is on deltaic places. So we should, as the Dutch and others, we should learn, and we have learned, how to expert coastal restoration, deltaic protection, and the kinds of issues that plague the world. This is nothing, we're not going to fight over the cause of it, but the fact that there are coastal issues around the globe that have to be dealt with, that we're learning how to and are exceeding at, is another success story.
That's a great point. So this is, you know, an education process really for the rest of the world and how you do rebuild and protect a locale. Speaking of education, we love to hear about that education revolution there with local control and school choice. And I know that you're big into education with your own daughters there. How has that contributed to this city's rebirth and any city's rebirth?
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that our schools are demonstrably better. It's kind of a complicated story. It doesn't do a lot of good to get into the entire history of it, but many of the structural changes in the school system in New Orleans took place prior to August of 2005. But by most measurements, the schools have improved, and I think we're on a pretty good trajectory here. I'm encouraged by it, but, you know, as always, you know, it's always the qualifying but I'd rather have the qualifying but than end with the more negative story, if you will.
So we have gone from, we are the nation's number one urban reform school. We've gone from 62% failing schools to 2% failing schools. Now, the infrastructure was important, but having the right kind of leadership and having young people. We have more Teach for America kids here who are so dedicated to one kid at a time and doing what it takes to educate one kid at a time, including involving their families and their siblings. And I'm proud to say James is on the Teach for America board, and we're agreeing on too many things, honey.
Yeah. I mean, one of the problems that people are reporting is we're having a problem with gentrification, which means that we're having some affluent, particularly younger people moving into neighborhoods that are driving rents up, which is a problem in a lot of urban areas, and, you know, San Francisco being ground zero. But as Richard Campanella, the preeminent geographer of New Orleans, maybe the best urban geographer in the country, said, who would have thought 8 years ago that we would have this problem? I mean, I think the problem that we're experiencing here is, you know, affordable housing for some of our less fortunate people, and it's something that we have to work on. But the idea that we got these young, talented people moving in the city I think is a sign of our vibrancy.
Absolutely. And I know that both of you, though, have been very influential in that education revolution. I'm sure it's greatly appreciated, especially in that area. I wish we had more time, because I'd love to get in some politicking here. You guys are so unique. You're so interesting. Let me tell you, too, Mary, I am a big fan. James, you won't remember this, but I stalked you down in an airport once. I recognized the back of your bald head.
I saw you and your husband Todd in the airport. I remember it very well. You were down here for the Blanchett conference.
That's right. So I tapped your shoulder, and you granted me just the nicest conversation there that any stalker could wish for, and I thank you. So I got to ask, how do you guys do it? I think the dinner table talk at my house is heated. Your book, Love and War, which is the prettiest book cover I think is out there, and it just says so much about who you are. But the book cover there on Love and War, it tells us a lot. But tell me more how you two do this.
Well, Governor, thank you. And as you know, I'm a big fan of yours, and we're honored to be here. When you have two teenage girls, as we do, we have a lot of heat in our house, so we don't have a lot of emotional wherewithal to expend. And we really, as you can see, agree on a lot of what we're doing here. And if we don't choose to discuss what we disagree on.
Our schedule is so busy this week, I don't think we even have time to argue, to tell you the truth.
Well, you know, it's idle hands or the devil's business, so yeah, you guys stay busy, because really you're a great example for the rest of the country, you know, that hanging in there, and your love, though, for each other really is exuded. It's appreciated. So let me just tell you, I appreciate you joining us today. I know you're so busy. I offer beignets at Dumont on me next time that I'm in town, and thanks so much for your precious time.
We'd love to see you.
Thank you, Governor, for everything
Best
you
to
do.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, up next then, we're going to ask, when will this administration get it and quit sympathizing the real threat that radical Muslims pose in our country? A former CIA op, she joins me after the break.